That's what that is. You're getting stronger. It's so painful, but you're getting stronger. And what seemed to be painful in one season will become of ease to you in the next. Hey, how are you guys? My name is Albaner C, Eugene Jr. And I have a quick video for someone who has been going deeper with God, and you've been doing things that God has been calling you to do. They've been hard. To some degree, they've been very uncomfortable. To some degree, it's been very challenging. I definitely can resonate with you. I definitely can relate to you. It's not always easy doing what God has been calling you to do in this season, but you've said yes. You may be watching, you're saying you might have not fully said yes, but you're willing. And I have a message for you, and I want to speak to you about something that I think is very critical for you to put language to in this season. When I used to run track, something that I really took pride in, something that I really was excited about because I knew it was going to help me run faster. I knew it was going to help me perform better. I knew it was going to help me to have successful times during my races. It gave me confidence that I was going to win my races. And this thing that I'm talking about is stretching. This thing was a very exciting thing for me, but the one thing that was very difficult was the stretching was painful. And when it comes to stretching, I've learned that as you stretch, your capacity begins to grow. And if I did not stretch, or if I saw someone who did not stretch, I can automatically recognize they were weak, they weren't prepared, and they weren't going to be able to perform at their best. They weren't going to be able to do all that their body could possibly do if they had just stretched. Sometimes if you cannot stretch your own, or if you don't have enough discipline or enough tolerance for pain to stretch yourself, we would have somebody stretch us. We would have somebody help us when we stretch. So sometimes it's not that we stretch, but we have to be stretched in the hopes that our capacity would be able to grow, so our strength can begin to grow, our ability and our performance will be successful, our efforts will be effective. That's very critical. And something I realized in this time, in this season, where God has been speaking, God has been doing a lot of beautiful things individually and collective in your life. I've recognized that as you go deeper with God, your capacity begins to grow. As you go deeper with God, there's areas of your life where you're going to notice you're being stretched, and it is very uncomfortable. Something that encourages me that if you're being stretched, it's because you can be. A rubber band can only be stretched to a certain degree and then it pops. So you only stretch it as much as it can be stretched. But as long as you're stretching it, it's because it can be stretched. But you know when it's time to stop. If you are being stretched, it's because God sees that you can be. Essentially, God is saying, there is more. And as you're being stretched, as you're being challenged, as you're growing, as your capacity is beginning to grow, you're noticing you're able to pray longer. You're able to tarry longer. You're starting to have a greater desire and craving for the presence of God, for the glory of God, for the beauty of God, for the safety and security and the fulfillment and the peace of God. You're beginning to want that a lot more. Your hunger for Him is growing. Everything around you is changing. Your desires are completely different. Before you used to like certain things, and now it's like you're not really even into that. You're growing. Your capacity is growing. You might be in a situation where you've been challenged a lot, and you've been saying yes. You may not always want to, but you've been saying yes. You may not always feel like it, but you've been willing, and you've decided to keep going in hopes that it's for your good, in hopes that this stretching is not in vain, in hopes that you're going to be able to finish your race. The whole point of stretching, essentially, is not just simply to finish stronger, to perform better, to run faster, to go further, but it's also to prevent injury. When I was trying to help my team out on my track team, when it came to stretching, like, hey, did you stretch? Did you stretch? I was concerned for their safety. Because if you try to perform, If you try to do what you're supposed to do, if you try to run your race without stretching your body, you will suffer an injury. You will get hurt. And in track, you will pull a muscle. You can tear a muscle. And ultimately, one moment can end up becoming a season ender, as in, because you didn't stretch, it cost you your whole season. And I don't know about you, but I'm in a place in my life where I'm trying to prevent injuries. I'm not trying to learn anything the hard way, nor am I trying to learn anything from the place of disobedience. So yes, the Bible says no one likes discipline while it's taking place, but once it runs its course, it's a powerful thing, it's a beautiful thing. When you stretch, or when your capacity begins to grow, you can do a lot more and you will see a lot more, even within yourself. There's a side of you that God is going to reveal to you as you're stretched, as your capacity begins to grow. And you'll be able to look back and say, wow, look how far I've come. And with the beauty of it all, the more of your capacity grows, the more space God has to fill. And friend, God is not intimidated by your desire for more. And God is not alarmed or taken back by how much you want to see or by how big your call is. He called you, He ordained you, and He knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. He knows how much He can stretch you. So I'm telling you this to encourage you. Trust Him. Trust God when you can sense He's stretching you. When certain people are getting on your nerves, when certain people are trying your patience, when certain people are testing you in areas where you know you're weak, trust God as He stretches you. As you're saying yes to some of your ministry service opportunities, as you're able to do what God has called you to do, as you're saying yes to commitment, as you're saying yes to diligence, as you're saying yes to excellence, as you're saying yes to praying a little longer, as you're saying yes to getting your quiet time with God, trust God as He stretches you, because your capacity is beginning to grow. Before, you were only able to pray for 5 minutes, maybe 15. Now you're praying for 30. Now you're praying for an hour. Some of you are praying even longer than that because your capacity has grown. There's going to be times where you're going to want to tap out, and I challenge you, stretch a little longer. Press through a little longer. When you're working out in the gym and when you're lifting weights, your muscles are ripping. Your muscles are being stretched. And it's at those last reps when you feel like all the lactic acid has built up and the tension is so great that you're like, if I just need to quit, but it's in those last moments. If you finish your rep, as hard as that burn feels, you're getting stronger. That's what that is. You're getting stronger. It's so painful, but you're getting stronger. And what seemed to be painful in one season will become of ease to you in the next. I encourage you, let God stretch you. Because one, you're going to see yourself do things you could never even dream of doing. Your capacity is going to be able to grow, and you're going to go further than you ever dreamed of. And you're going to prevent some injuries. There's going to be some things that you didn't have to experience because you let God grow you. Hey, what's up, you guys? Thank you again for watching these videos. Make sure you not just subscribe, but make sure you hit your notification bar. Supposedly, that is when you'll get notifications that I posted something. I want to make sure that we stay updated. And I think that's the best way to do that. So I appreciate you guys. God bless you guys. Stay encouraged no matter what, and stay in the presence of God. I'll see you guys.